Revenue is vanity, margin is strategy, cash flow is power. Welcome to the Bottom Line Buzz, the podcast where business owners talk about what's really happening behind the scenes. Smart money, real strategy, no smoke.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're calling in from. This is the Bottom Line Buzz. I am Joe Zahaitis, and I'm joined today, my co-host,
the real queen bee of this podcast, the Cannabis Cash Queen herself, Jennifer Macris.
And today we have, as part of our show, Patrick Lane. I'll let you introduce, and then Patrick, we're going to have you kind of give us your backdrop and introduction yourself.
So thank you so much. So excited to have Patrick. Many of you know him from the days of Benzinga, but super excited to, bring the Ignite It events and conferences to the show and the conversation today. So Patrick, I will not take any of your thunder, your fame, your moment of spotlight. Here you go. Please give us a little bit more about you.
Gladly, and thank you both for having us. It's such a joy to work in this business, and isn't it fun to say that? I feel like for so many years we were like, nah, is it a joy to work in cannabis? I don't know, but nowadays
some days not so much, but for the most part, yes.
You never know. Yeah, I guess it really varies by the day. Today's a joy, so thanks for having me. We were at Benzinga. I was the guy with Javier Haas and Jason Raznick who started the cannabis conferences at Benzinga 10 years ago, right? So 10 years we've been doing this. And then just about a year ago, we spun off from Benzinga. So 4 of us left, Jason Raznick, the founder of Benzinga and now the chairman of Ignite It, myself, my brother and partner in crime, Elliot Lane, who's the president and CRO of Ignite It, and Javier Haas, who's pulling double duty at High Times and at Ignite It, right? So, yeah, we've launched this new company. We took the cannabis events and media business with us when we left. So all of that now operates under the Ignite It label. Love the folks at Benzinga. We are 2 totally separate companies now, each pursuing our own dreams and destinies, and we couldn't be more excited to do so.
It's like the evolution of cannabis, right? 10 years at Benzinga, that's like 100 cannabis dog years, let's be honest. And that requires a pivot. So true. And that requires a pivot, right? So you obviously identified that Benzinga was growing beyond the investment, the capital, and that events that promote that you saw that opportunity. And again, you never know who you're going to cross paths with. So I'm a strong believer of you want to, maintain those relationships, and you want to encourage and pursue everyone and lift everyone up that you can in the industry. And so I think that, that's what we continue to do. And also tell the story of, the origin story. Joe and our origin story is actually.
That's how some amazing people met, is at Benzinga, Chicago, actually. Yeah.
And there are amazing people in our industry. And so creating a room that can provide a space for those amazing people to, and we'll talk about this, amazing people to come together, talk. When I left one of the Ignite It Spotlight events, which I would love to talk about those one day, super, just a quick booster shot, if you will, because I feel like that
right.
fuels us, right? But it's a palatable, a micro dose of a conference that, doesn't take you out of pocket, doesn't take you out of office for, a 3-day plus a travel day. So let's talk about how that actual spotlight concept came to be. Just to kind of open that up, when I left the spotlight, the first kickoff event of 2026 in New Jersey, I was mesmerized in the fact that I walked out of the panel discussion room, which I spent so much time in, nurturing my knowledge and expanding my knowledge around that Tri-City, New York, New Jersey area. There was like a 60-40, 70-30 split of people that I didn't know, Patrick. Like, kudos to you for getting people in the room where it's new people. We love seeing our friends in the industry. We've created so many friends over the decade plus that we've been in the industry, but seeing new faces, those are where that's where the opportunity and the engagement and the partnerships and the new conversations happen. So kudos to you for doing that. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about that spotlight model.
Yeah, it's so kind of you to say that. And I'll say, listen, in a time where, listen, we said it in the beginning, depending upon the day, it can be a joy to work in the industry. It can be a struggle to work in the industry. We still know a lot of folks out there are struggling. We know that a lot of people look at events and conferences and there's a new event popping up every day. It's hard to plan an event calendar, especially ones that you have to travel to. So we're endeavoring to do things in two different ways. We have our big event that we host every year. We've done it in Miami, we've done it in Toronto. This year it's in Chicago again, and that's the one that we've been doing for 10 years. Over the last couple of years, and I really credit Elliot with this, we've experimented with this roadshow concept, right? And it's a concept that goes deep in the investment landscape in that industry, of companies and certain industries doing roadshows in several cities across the country or even globally. For us, it's just important to highlight markets that are of interest, right? And I hate to say it, not every market is of interest, right? But certain markets are trending, right? In one direction or the other. Certain markets are in the regulatory spotlight locally in their state and local regulations. And those folks need help, right? They need a platform. They want to talk to their regulators in person at a conference. They want to do business together. Case in point, that New Jersey conference, that was the third time we've hosted one in New Jersey. This was back in February of 26. And this one was a 20% year over year growth for us in terms of attendance, right? We had about 640 people on site. And that grew from a conference a couple of years ago that was only 300 people.
I was proud to say I was at the New Brunswick, so it was the very first kind of one day, yeah. And I noticed the number of people, right, the dense population, if you will, that consumed the room. We were busting at the seams, if you will, like that vestibule area, like there was just people everywhere. And mind you, it was like in between blizzards in New York, New Jersey. This Florida girl was very cold, but I'm so glad I did it. And there was still snow on the sidewalks, and I think I came in the middle, like literally there was a snowstorm before my arrival and there was a snowstorm after my arrival. So thank you for planning that with Mother Nature so that I could,
well scheduled. Comment on the nature of the quick hit, which I think is a good thing is from an attendee perspective. I mean, we all go to some of the major events, which we won't mention, but the larger events that are held in large cities, and it takes our team, a couple days to set up and everybody else days to break down. That becomes more of an odyssey, kind of a marathon. I think from a consumer, when I talk about consumer of an experience, that short hit, knowing that everyone has to be both in and out of town because that's the only day, that gives you a focus, a budgetary constraint, because it's like, look, I only need maybe one night, maybe 2 nights of a hotel room, and I know, and kudos to you for having that. I think that's what probably drove it. Would be my guess is people could say, look. Be there, go there, get there, in, out, we're done. We all get to meet. We all get to do stuff on the floor, within the context of it and outside of the venue itself. We'll have some meetings with people. It's a reason to gather, and it is a short cycled term to gather them. I think that's an awesome idea.
Well, we're trying to create something that's really made for the participants in that local market, right? So when we're in Ohio, it's going to be Ohio and Kentucky. When we were in New Jersey, it was New Jersey and New York, right? When we're in Chicago, it's a bit different because it's a national focus there, right? But for these spotlights, and you know what's interesting? We designed it initially to be for those local participants. We get a lot of people coming in to these events from out of state, and it's because they want to get into those markets. They want to do business there. They have holdings there and want to build them out. Whatever the case may be, it seems like this one-day event is a very popular format, and we plan to continue it.
It's not broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Effective. That's
you guys did a very, very good job, I think, personally. And again, we're reflecting a little bit on history here, but I think transitioning from a capital conference to more of a business networking event.
That's right.
Hugely smart move from my perspective, because not that we're not interested in talking to those same individuals in a lot of ways with what we do at BankCard, but more importantly becomes that networking piece. And you guys provided a great opportunity, venue, and setup structure to doing just that within this space. I think it's been a great transition.
That's great to highlight. And I would just say, at Benzinga, we had investors at our fingertips. Right? We still have those folks in cannabis. They're on our lists. We talk to them regularly. It's no secret that the equity in this space is sort of sitting on the sidelines right now. Not to say that there's none to be had. there are equity investments getting done, albeit rarer to see, and certainly more selective. That's probably the word I would use. But I would say, I just saw a report in Crane's Detroit that we're going to get rescheduling today. I don't think that's actually going to happen, right? But if that does happen, that's when the equity is going to come back into the market, right? That's when we'll see those investors really deciding to place bets again on some of not only the public companies, but those second, third, and fourth tier operators that really are great operators.
The up and comers,
but until then, we're going to go where the opportunity is, right? As long as we're in this industry or any other, which I know we're going to talk about, we're going to go where we can provide value, right? And I think it's not an exaggeration to say that the room that we craft, that Elliot and myself and our team focus on, is a room of decision makers, right? It's executives, it's investors, it's buyers. There are people that are going to make deals at our event, and that's always been our ethos, right? We want people to get deals done, whether it's a business and a partner who can help that business grow, whether it's a business and an investor, or whether it's people like you two who meet at a conference and decide to start a business together, right? That's our focus. That's what we care about.
And I think there's something to be said about having it so special. I say specialized. Joe and I actually met at a specialized, a banking, payments, and compliance type of event, right? That was centric to what we do in the space: cash management, merchant, credit card processing, merchant services. And so this podcast was birthed by way of Joe had his whole setup. The headphones, the speakers, the lights, all the shebang. And it was like magic, right? Wow, we have a good cadence. We have a good, balance with each other. Let's take this show on the road kind of thing. So we do need to take this show literally on the road, perhaps on the Ignite It circuit. Joe, we'll have to talk about that.
I can neither confirm nor deny my interest in doing that. We've seen others on the floor do that before. We could be one to do that too. We'll talk.
Sorry, Patrick, I was going to say, like you said, where deals get made. And I will say, of all of the events that we have the privilege to go to, I've never seen more C-suite and executives fill the room than in the conferences that you put together. So kudos to you for, again, we're providing the space where deals can get made, true deals, partnerships as opposed to transactions, and just planting that seed.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the kudos, and I'll take that for the entire team.
For sure.
Gotten us to where we are, and that's the goal, right?
It's the secret sauce
platform, right?
The secret sauce. So let's talk about. Sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
No, that was exactly where I was going next. Let's talk about some of these things that are coming up. I was kind of looking forward to hearing some.
Great minds think alike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not why we have a show together or anything. I mean.
Yeah. Look at you two. I like this. So events that are coming up for us, right? And sort of, I'll give you a little bit more of our trajectory. So, for Cannabis, our events as of 2026 are the Cincinnati conference. That's the Ignited Market Spotlight Ohio Valley that will focus on Ohio and Kentucky. That's April 30th. June 14th through the 16th will be our Chicago Cannabis Capital Conference. You can see all of this on events.ignited.com, by the way. But that's our big one. You'll see about 2,000 people in Chicago for that event. For the first time on September 18th, we'll be in Denver, focusing on the Colorado market. We've heard from so many people over the years, hey, we haven't had a conference since 2012 or 2013 or the last time that MJ Biz did something here. It's time that Colorado had a conference. And quite frankly, there's a ton of M&A activity that's been happening out there. Vireo buying Schwaz and a couple of other things, if I'm not getting that right or wrong, rather. I think that there's a real opportunity for the Colorado market spotlight to shine on those participants. California on October 7th in Los Angeles. That'll be the fourth time we've done a California event. So October 7th in LA, we'll probably have between 400 and 500 folks there. And then to close out the year, it's the second time we'll be in DC on November 18th. This is our Cannabis Capital and Policy Summit. This one is looking like it's going to be another sort of cornerstone of our events, another tentpole, if you will. We did this back in November of last year. We had Cory Booker, Senator Booker, come and speak. We had 2 Republican congressmen come and speak, Guy Reschenthaler, the deputy whip. And we're hosting this probably a week after the election, the midterms, right, in DC. So I expect this to be 500 or 600 people, all focused on policy, on how capital can enter the industry again. And it should be a heck of an event right after the midterms.
Why I just got goosebumps twice in the last 30 seconds of what you just shared with us about the events coming up. That means something, right? But 2 things. One, you're right. Colorado hasn't gotten a lot of love on the conference circuit. And I really didn't put that into perspective till you just said that. And I wonder if it's because people just think it's a more mature market or what have you. But pardon?
I think so. And I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
Yeah, I think so. I think from what we've heard, it's like, hey, wait, we were one of the original markets. And
it's been churning and burning for a while. So it's like, okay, it's just doing its thing. I think it's a perfect play because it will draw on the connected states as well that have recently gone, and you'll get local in that context. It won't be cross country, but it'll certainly be from the neighboring states.
The neighboring states, yeah, interesting. So the Colorado love, kudos there, and then the policy side. It was a game changer for me when I started participating at the state level and then, of course, the federal level, because that's where the decisions are made. That's how we get to do what we get to do because of the decisions that are being made at that government level, that federal level, the state level. And so being involved in the policy conversation just allows for a deeper education in our industry, around our industry, and how we get to influence and take the policy back to our local markets. So I'm so excited about that. I definitely want to make sure I put that one on my calendar and attend. And like you said, the timing of that right after the midterms should tee up for a fantastic conversation.
I don't want to put a stick in the mud, but just as a question, and I don't want to make it into a political conversation, but have you considered the nature of what might happen in the context of the midterms that will cause DC to either be insane chaos? I'm not saying any issues, but maybe there's going to be a lot of other people there from a philosophical wanting to attend and or be in hotel space relative to what you're trying to do because of what's happening on a national level.
I'll say that as a conference organizer, you plan for every
eventuality,
every situation. Yeah, every eventuality, right? So, I think we've been very careful, right? And out of necessity, we've been careful to make sure that both sides of the aisle are included and represented. I have my own personal beliefs, as I'm assuming we all do, but I think from my perspective, that doesn't matter, right? What we need to do is come together as an industry and get important and impactful legislation done. And quite frankly, rescheduling, whether it hits today, tomorrow, next month, next year, we don't know, right? And everything takes longer at the federal level, as we're seeing. What I'm excited about and what I think we have the power to do as an industry is put pressure on our congressmen to get things done, right? Yeah, and you look at Troy Carter and Guy Reschenthaler reintroducing the Climb Act, right, to provide real access to companies who are and have been, detrimentally affected by 280E for so long, being shut out of real capital at reasonable rates, senior exchanges, and getting to feel like a normal, quote unquote, normal company, right? That's what this industry needs to really grow up and mature into that, let's call it the 3rd or 4th inning of its cycle.
Yeah, and those 301, 401 level conversations that are being stepped over or not being had or don't have the quality or the people to appropriately discuss that. And that's, again, another uniqueness that I think the Ignitic brand represents and brings to stage is those conversations that are, not entry level, right? We're speaking to decision makers, executives, 301, 401 level courses, right? If we take it into an academic setting, because those are the next steps. Again, we talked about earlier in the podcast is that 10-year pivot, right? We have been in most of the states have been legalized for some period of time now. We've got the newer markets coming online, of course, but what does that look like? I had the privilege of being on a prep call for the Cincinnati Ignite It coming up, and we talked about ESOPs, right? What are these new investment strategies? And M&A is becoming more and more of a conversation to your point, the Colorado market M&A, but there are other solutions out there. There are other, how can we position an exit strategy? Because some of those more mature markets are now looking at what an exit strategy looks like. And to your point, how do we feel and operate like a normal business in the US? And so putting those people on stage, having those conversations just educates us about new markets. So again, it's being able to speak to the evolution of the industry.
Yeah, and let me say this. I think one of the ways we've evolved is making sure that the operators themselves feel as though not only do they have a place, but they're more so the bells of the ball at these events, right? So for instance, in Chicago, and I guess I'll roll it out here. It's as good a place as any, right? Our VIP stage is going to be called our Torchbearers stage, right? And it's going to be called this for a reason, right? Because we think those operators who are the ones that content is geared towards, right? Those are the ones who've been carrying the torch for this industry for years.
Amen
right?
to that.
And the ones who will continue carrying it. So what we plan to do on that stage and in that specific VIP area is to say, if you're an operator, if you're an owner, if you're an executive at an operation, right, we want you in that room. We're going to be doing workshops on M&A, on restructuring, on capital readiness, on a lot of these things that are both financial and otherwise important for operators to know, to understand, and to be educated on how maybe the changes in regulation will shift the ground beneath their feet as it ever has been in cannabis, right? And then we'll have specific networking sessions designed for these people. After the M&A workshop, we're going to do a no brokers allowed networking session for buyers and sellers of retail stores, right? And so these operators have specific and almost exclusive access to one another and to content and to networking that can truly further their business in ways that outside of a conference like ours, they're going to have to pay some serious money, fees, consulting, everything for.
Well, just to gather the appropriate parties together, you provide a platform that alone provides an area, a time, a moment in life where a lot of people are in the same room having similar conversations. It's perfect.
Exactly. Well, we hope so. That's the game anyway.
If you build it, they will come, Patrick. And you have been building it, and they are coming.
They already did. We've all been there. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's fabulous.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, guys.
Let's talk about some of the other things that Ignite It is doing to highlight other segments of the industry. Let's talk about Ignite Her, for example,
yes.
empowering women in the industry. So let's talk, as a female leader in the industry, let's talk about Ignite Her.
Yes, so glad you mentioned that. You know, what's always been important to the executive team at Benzinga and now Ignite It, and certainly to Elliot and I, right? Elliot and I are both girl dads, right? I have 2 daughters. He has 2 daughters. We love our wives, right? We know what it's like, and will know as our kids get older, what it will be like to send our girls into the workforce, right? And to send them and start them out in their careers, right? I care about that. And I want women to have a place at our conference where not only they feel safe and secure, but they feel empowered. Right? They belong in every room of our conference. They belong in on every stage that we have, right? And so the Ignite Her, and I have to shout out Jessica at Mycelia Group and all the women who are involved, Kim Prince at Proven Media, all the women who are involved in the decision making around this. But we've partnered with them in order to say, hey, you guys know these women, you guys know these female owners and executives and business people in this industry who need help getting into these rooms, right? And who need the spotlight and service, right? By those who can help them in their careers, in their businesses. So we're offering the platform. Jessica and the team at Mycelia Group have gotten a whole group of women together who are not only getting the word out so that female business owners and and folks in this industry can apply for these scholarships and free access to our program. But once selected by Jessica and her team, and this team is, I think, like 10 different women who decide on these applications. Once selected, they not only get to attend our conference for free, but they also get services from a group of business owners that are offering these services for free to these women who are selected, right? SEO help, marketing help, legal advice, all pro bono for these selected people. So it's just a small way that we can help. We've been involved with Women Grow. We've been involved with different associations over the years, and that will continue as well. I also have to shout out the Weldon Project and a lot of what Last Prisoner Project and the Minority Cannabis Business Association do. Like all of these different groups we support, both in access and financially when we can. And it's important that we all do. Right. It's good work that's being done. And, for at least for our part, we find it important and impactful.
Well, Jessica Ferranti is a friend of the Bottom Line Buzz. She's a personal and dear friend of mine. Awesome. She's doing amazing work in this space and has been for, again, a decade plus, right? Us OGs in this space. And I just love the partnership between Ignite It, the Mycelia Group, and the Ignite Her lounge that will happen, the Ignite Her event that happened in New Jersey. So the best is yet to come. And thank you for empowering women as a girl dad, right? Just thank you for putting that top of mind and providing the resources, the space to continue to encourage female leadership in the industry. So thank you for that. And I am keeping a tally over here. I have now officially had goosebumps 7 times in our conversation in the 20 some odd minutes. So I don't know what that means, but I know it means good things.
It's good.
Good stuff on the horizon. Okay, we can't argue that point without a doubt.
No doubt. Let's see. What else should we talk about? I guess, how do people obviously get in touch with you, Patrick, and then any other announcements regarding the Capital Conference that we should talk about?
Yeah, a couple things I'll just put on everyone's radar. So if you ever want to reach out to us, please feel free to email events plural, at ignitit.com, events@ignitit.com. You'll reach our whole team there, right? But Elliot and I are on that alias and would be happy to correspond with anybody who wants to reach out. To look at our event schedule for the year, it's events.ignitit.com. Everyone should check out ignitit.com, right? Which is our media platform. I'll tell you, we're doing things a bit differently than we did at Benzinga, right? My interest in our editorial team and what they're putting out there is less of the, hey, my writer is better than that publication's writer, so you need to come read this news on our site. I don't want to play that game. I'm not interested in that game. We all have digital fatigue, right? So what I would say is come to ignitit.com and use it as your dashboard. Start your day with us, right? And here's why. You're going to see content that we write, but we are also porting in content from other publications across the web, High Times and Marijuana Moment and Rochelle Gordon at Green State and all of these different platforms, right? We have press releases and announcements coming in. We have specific deals, right, that will be available, I think, starting later this week on our platform, right? From partner sites and investment bankers that have their deals listed for sale or already sold, right? These are important things for the industry to know. And you get to see it all in one place, just like our events, all in one place at one time. You can see everything all in one place at one time on our website as well, right?
Remind our viewers and our listeners of that website one more time, because I love what you said. Start your day with us. I love getting my morning reading. How can I better serve my clients? How can I better provide, conversation on this type of platform? So start your day with Ignite It. And you do that by going to
ignitit.com.
Perfection.
Easy peasy, right?
I do want to bring up one quick thing. Not that I need another app on my phone, but a lot of this is available by way of the app as well, isn't it?
So the app is something different right now, but I'll give you a little sneak peek. Only registered attendees at our conference get to see this, right? But the app itself is called Ignite It Connect. And And when you get there, you can see something like this. This is for our Ohio conference coming up, right? You have your meeting requests here. You have something that you can scan, other attendees can scan to get your contact information or others. But the best part about this is that you got the full attendee list right here. You've got all of our speakers. You've got the full schedule right there of our conference. It's all in one place, one time. You only get that if you attend one of our events. And I got to tell you, if you've ever been to our Chicago event, we put 40 high top tables in our networking hall, which we're calling our deal floor this year, by the way, our deal floor. So 40 high top tables, and those tables are dedicated to this app and the pre-scheduled and pre-arranged meetings that get booked through it. So you'll book a meeting here and it'll say, go to table 10 at 9:15 or whatever it is. Those tables are booked the entire conference. Every one of them are full. It's the busiest thing. There are thousands of meetings that take place during our conference based on this app. Best tool, networking tool in cannabis by far.
Such an effective tool. I actually just updated my profile the other day, I think on Monday, because I got the prompt to do so. So uploaded the picture and then the profile. So I just think it's a great resource and a great way to, Angela Bradway, shout out to Angela Bradway.
Oh, love Angela.
Love Angela. Joe, we'll have to get her on Bottom Line Buzz, but she gave me the best piece of advice, being intentional, right? We should always be intentional, right? But being intentional and prepare for these types of events. We are one person. We have to maximize our time, especially when we are there flying solo and not with a team. So how can we go in with intention and preparation? And by leveraging a tool like this, Patrick, is exactly the way to do that.
I'll give you one more thing to think about. And
Tell us.
For you, your audience, you know what? I was interviewing interns the other day. We're going to bring on a class of interns over the summer. I'm very excited about that, excited to be growing. But one of the interns said this to me, and it has stuck with me ever since. We all love quotes, especially things that are motivational and get us off our butts and get us going. I loved this one, so I'll give you this. Be impatient with action, but patient with results.
That's good.
Be impatient with action, but patient with results, right? So intention is awesome, right? Urgency with intention is how you win. Urgency with intention, right? That impatience, I think, is it's something we can all use, right?
And
cool?
that's the bottom line. Buzz, right?
So you could
Right?
you could cap that one off right there, Jen. That's perfect.
That was really, really good. And that came from a college intern.
An intern, yeah.
Wise beyond that intern's years. Clearly, they're going to get the internship. Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm for sure hiring you. For sure.
And where are you? Just curious. Where are you pulling these? Are you? Because I know you're in the Michigan, Detroit area. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, are you pulling in from like University of Michigan, Wayne State? Like, are you pulling in from
sure.
local? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the goal for us, we'll pull from anywhere, but at least over the summer we want them to be in person with us.
Yeah, for sure.
We believe in culture. We believe in learning by example, right? If I expect others to get on the phone and call, they're going to see me on the phone too.
Damn straight. It's such a lost art. Picking up the phone, lost art, and then just being in person, right? Especially that current college generation. You got to think they were COVID high schoolers, right? Their senior years were like in COVID days, and so they've probably have gotten used to that disconnect between it being in person, and that norm has been virtual or remote. And I value the foundation of my professional career by being in an office, 3 days a week at 7 a.m., going out into the field, cold calling on the phones, knocking on doors. I mean, it was the foundation for my success.
Mine too. Exactly that. Sure. Cold calling nonstop, right?
And listen, if you needed something, you created that culture and that community in that office setting to where you could rely on that person. Or if you needed a special ask or a special favor or a quick turnaround for a client, you knew you could get it done because you had that rapport and that community within the four walls of the office.
That's exactly right. It's important. It's a shared experience, right? And almost a shared relevance.
Mm-hmm. That could be a whole other topic, Joe. Like
I would say we could do a whole show about that.
Yeah.
My comment was going to be when I'm not doing smoke signals or sending out letters on parchment, I would do a lot of the same things back in my early career as well.
Courier pigeons, isn't that what you would deploy?
That was what we started with, yes, pretty much. No, I do remember back in the days when you wrote. I was a banker, and you wrote letters to clients that you printed and then put in an envelope, and you waited a week to get the response from the client, because if you weren't going there, to your point, and meeting face to face, which was a lot of our business, everything there was the patience that came with the fact that it was the delayed response and everything. Things had to have intention because there was no instant gratification. You were sending out an email with a notification, something you needed to talk to a client about. It'd be a week before you'd hear back. So you had to have the plan that was going out because it wasn't fast.
Can we take a moment to give remembrance to the fax machine?
I was just going to say that. Yeah. The fax machine must have been in.
I just got 2 this afternoon. I don't know what you're talking about. It's not
and
true.
The credit card machine.
Hey, don't diss my knuckle busters.
Do you have one
we
of those
used to
relics
send
on your
out the
shelf?
plates that came with them. I'm old enough to remember the book that had the bad cards in it that you had to send out on a weekly or monthly basis to all of your merchants that had the bad cards in it. That's how they would check for bad cards, was in a paper book. Yeah, it was a long time.
This trip down memory lane brought to you by.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not talk about that. It's already making me feel old.
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, this has just been such a joy and such a great conversation. I guess let's kind of move into any kind of closing thoughts and comments. I'll give it over to you, Patrick, if there's anything else you want to add
Yeah. Well, I would say this, Joe, Jen, it's been a pleasure talking to both of you and your audience today. I think, keep an eye on us at Ignite It.
and start your day with them.
Start your day with us as well, right?
I think I'm sorry, that should be a tagline straight away. I think it should just be a tagline.
I'll get the t-shirts for all of us.
I'm wearing one. I'll wear it the whole show.
Behind you, right? Oh no, I'll send it to you via pigeon.
There you go. I'm good with that.
But no,
put it on the back of a donkey.
Right?
Yep. Just have it brought here. I'll be waiting for it.
I'll make sure to announce it in Cincinnati and Chicago, by the way, from the stage.
Well, I will definitely be in Chicago for sure. I'm looking at getting Cincinnati. I won't. I'm actually going to be out of town for the Cincinnati gig.
Yeah, I would just say, the industry is at a strange place right now, right on the precipice of change, or at least we all hope. And I think we have a lot to be hopeful for, even while many of our friends are struggling, right? There is opportunity, right? If we are intentional, as Jen said, if we're impatient with our actions, I think all of us can do business. All of us have the platform, the opportunity, the means, the mode, and the time to do business, right? And so these conferences are for those people who are ready to step into that and live in that world, right? And then keep an eye on us, right? We're moving into other industries. Our ethos is emerging markets, right? So cannabis is one of those and always will be, but others will follow this year.
See, Jen, that becomes that teaser. We got to have him back on again, because from our perspective and our business, what we do at BankCard, we're all about emerging markets. So while cannabis is a play, and this show is certainly a play on that, that's not all we do either. And we're looking at and are investing in a lot of those new other underserved emerging segments. That's a big part of what we're doing as well.
Yeah. And as the cannabis cash queen, right? It is not cannabis centric, right? So anything that is a highly regulated cash intensive industry with the umbrella of, financial services, that touches so many different retail verticals, high risk, highly regulated industries, which all take a specialized conversation and education around to highlight that. So
to get it done where you're on this side of the bars, that was all I was going to say. So it's a key piece. We keep telling all of our clients that's a huge part of this is we got to do this the right. It's not the easy or the fast way. It's got to be done the right way. So
yeah.
You take us out, Jen. You're always so good at this. You take us out. Thank you all. Thank you, by the way, Patrick, for being here. That'll be my comment. Thank you both.
Oh, amazing. There are so many things. And I think a 2.0 conversation to this Bottom Line Buzz edition with Patrick Lane is going to be warranted. So look forward to that. And I would like to make a special announcement, if I may do so, Patrick, on behalf
Please.
of Ignite It and the Chicago Capital event.
Drum roll, please.
We'll have to make sure to add that soundbite.
I will.
That I have been asked to be one of the official MCs of the Cannabis Capital Conference for Ignite It Chicago.
Yay! I love it.
Very excited to have you, Jen. Very excited.
I cannot wait. I am so honored and excited. I have big shoes to fill, right? You've had amazing MCs grace your stage, Shabazz, Lori Parfit. So I am excited to follow in suit, and I will not disappoint. I will deliver, and I cannot wait. So with that, this is the Bottom Line Buzz. We're out. Have a good one. See you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Thank you.
That's today's buzz. If your business handles cash payments or compliance, this is your room. Like, subscribe, share, and remember, revenue is loud, but the bottom line is what counts.